Hello and welcome to Living Right with Chris. My name is Chris Isweke and I'm super excited to welcome you to the month of March. The year is running, and what that means is that if we are not focused on our goals, if we're not committed to our strategies, and if we are not accountable to our process, then we would never achieve our goals for the year. And that has become um, a propelling factor for choosing the focus for this month. And the focus for this month says self accountability. I will start by saying that freedom is an illusion. Absolute freedom is a myth, it doesn't exist. In fact, one of the greatest bondage in human race is the illusion of absolute freedom. I hear people say, it's my life. I don't owe no one nothing. I don't have to explain anything to anyone. I can live my life the way I want. Nobody is feeding me after all, and stuff like that. But the truth is that this is a recipe for disaster. To live a fulfilling life, we must be accountable to our maker, we must be accountable to self, and then we must be accountable to systems. And I will briefly speak to the three of them to put them in context. First, we must be accountable to our Maker. We must live with the consciousness that we were created by God, and He demands that we are accountable to Him. Of course, He may not, He wouldn't force us, to be accountable. But at the end of time, our eternity will be judged based on it. Secondly, we must be accountable to systems, and this covers being accountable to established authorities, to laws, rules and regulations, lay down procedures and processes, being accountable to your superiors, being accountable to your partners, which include your spouse, for those that are married and all that. Self accountability, which is actually the focus for this month, um, talks about being accountable to yourself, not waiting for an external push or an external factor to motivate you to do the things that you ought to do part time and even at the right time. You see, no one can hold you accountable if you're not accountable to yourself first. The first thing you want to be, you know, is to be accountable to yourself. Otherwise, of course, no one can hold you accountable. Accountability groups are many, but accountable people are very, very few. You must resolve today to be in competition with yourself and make yourself proud. Not because there is a motivation, an external motivation for it, but because it's an internal motivation, uh, you know, by yourself, made by yourself for yourself to achieve the things that you are set out to achieve. The first thing that comes to mind is if you do not hold yourself accountable, if all you need is for someone to hold you accountable for the things you ought to do, then it means that you are never going to win. So that resolution within ourselves to be accountable for our actions, to be accountable for um, getting done the things that ought to be done, should lie within us to make. Only then can we make a headway in this year that we have chosen to do the things that we want to do. In fact, if you always need to feel motivated, it means that you're not ready for success. The truth is, the feeling of wanting to be motivated only leads to stagnation because motivation is fleeting and grossly unreliable. Motivation is a trap. it is like a temporary boost of energy that doesn't take you really far. So when you realize that you solely depend on motivation, you will get stuck when that motivation does not show up. So what you need is to be self-motivated. And such motivation comes as an internal push to do the things that you ought to do. So what we really need is self-discipline, creating the right habits and system that would help us achieve our goals for the year. And I will talk about these three again briefly. The first thing I mentioned was self-discipline. What is discipline? Discipline is doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. And this is built through small daily habits or daily acts of commitment to the things that we do, and not a bogus or a fleeting inspiration that we get that is externally motivated. Self-discipline means focusing your mind and your energy to a goal and then committing to achieving that goal no matter the discomfort that you face in achieving it. The next thing I will talk about is habits. Habits are those automatic tendencies or behaviors that we exhibit. Yes, they are automatic, but they are actually learned. We learn them by consistent repetition of those tendencies or behaviors. So when you see yourself doing a particular thing over time, it becomes an habit. It not comes involuntarily, not because it is innate. No, you're not born with it, but because you have done it so much, so repeatedly, that it has become a part of you. That's what habit is. So we must begin to develop positive habits. We must begin to do the things that the strategies we have mapped out for ourselves. We must begin to do them consistently, daily, so that they can become part of us. You know, when we begin to do these things daily, what we do is that we're actually establishing consistent daily routine that will help us stay on course our goal. Habits make your action automatic. They save you of mental energy, and then they ensure your progress over time. Then I'll talk about systems. Um, we must create a system around our life. Anything that you want to succeed, you must pass it through. You must systematize it. If you want it to last, if you want it to be replicated, if you want it to stay a lifetime, you must systematize it. So if you want your life to make a meaning, you must create a system around your life. And it's very easy to do. System help you stay on track. They help you to focus on your process. Creating a system around your life is actually putting structure to your life. And it's a very easy thing, like I said, to do. How do you create a system around your life? You can just set out a particular time to do specific tasks daily. By so doing, you have created a system that you know that at this particular time of the day, this is the thing that I will be doing. At this particular time, this is what I should be doing. At this particular time, this is what I should be doing. Now, what it does is that you have created a daily routine for your life, and it becomes a system because one day leads to the next day, and then you do it as you know a repetition daily, and then you get used to it. It becomes an habit to you, and those daily habits becomes a way of life for you. And by so doing, you have created a system. And what system does is that it helps you save time. It takes away those spare time that we think we have, which actually we do not have. It helps you focus on the things that you ought to do per time so that you prioritize what should be prioritized and then you leave out those things that shouldn't be prioritized. That's what system help you do. And I've said that it is a very easy thing to do. To systematize your life is just by it's just um, to say put a structure to your life. Know the things that you ought to do part time. Someone said that highly successful people are people who plan their time by the minute. So they know what they need to do by the minute. Those who are less successful plan by the hour. Why those who are not even successful at all plan by by the month. But for those who are not actually serious, they don't have a plan. They just live life as it comes. They sleep, they wake up, and then they run. If you want to be successful, you must plan your time. And planning your time talks about creating a system and a structure that help you run your life. Success does not depend on motivation. It depends on showing up and doing what needs to be done. Once you begin to take action, momentum builds, and then motivation can then follow. Not motivation first, and then before you now decide to whether you will take an action or not. You must resolve within yourself. You must be self-motivated, and then take action. And then yes, motivation can come. It's not actually necessary, but then it can come. Motivation is nice, but it's not necessary. It doesn't get the job done. Actually, on the other hand, what is necessary for success is getting to put your hands to the plow and then get the job done. Um, Many a times we have failed to achieve the goals that we want to achieve, not because um, the systems are not there for us to achieve them, but because we do not have that internal motivation to achieve them. But I'm here to say that our focus for this month is to redirect our minds back to the fact that what helps us achieve our goal at the end of the day is that internal push, that internal drive within us, not waiting for others or external forces or factors to motivate us to act. No, we must resolve within ourselves first to act, and then others will follow. I will end this by a quote from one of my coach. She will say that success or failure is predictable, and that is so true. Success is predictable. If you're going to succeed, you can predict it by the habits, the discipline, and the systems that you build. Thank you for being here. Uh, Please do not forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. And like I always say, as we go by and by, we would get better. We would look back um, at the end of the year, we'll look back to say, oh, I've achieved this because I've actually systematized my life and I've followed through um, a particular structure and consistent focus for each month. And that will help us to achieve our goal. Thank you for being here with me. I know that I would see you around. Stay blessed.